interactions between those I engaged with closely and those I did not, as well as recreating conversations and actions I did not witness. Key instances of this are the prologue and chapters 2, 4, 8, 10, and 12. I advise listeners that reported spoken and inner dialogues in these chapters come from interviews I conducted later, months later in the case of Chapter 12, years later in the others. I have made an editorial decision to recontextualize those statements based on my understanding of past events, and, in the case of Chapter 12, based on an informal review of the text by one of the participants, Bannon, but not the other, Dugan. At best, I will have captured the dialogue and events that once took place. At worst, I will have decontextualized thoughts and expressions. Listeners can trust, nonetheless, that extended quotations and substantive inner dialogues are statements that were made to me by the figures in question in on-the-record interviews or verified afterward. Note that though Steve Bannon and I reviewed informally sections from the prologue and chapters 2 and 12, he has not formally reviewed these quoted materials nor any others, and this despite intentions to do so on his part and considerable effort from me, circa 50 text messages or emails to him and his handlers, sent from October through November 2019, plus one meeting in D.C. and one trip to New York City with a canceled meeting. Note also that I have lightly edited the grammar of verbal statements by non-English speakers. Note also that I have changed the names of certain secondary individuals. Prologue. His car rolls slowly atop the cobblestones of Via del Babuino toward the Piazza del Popolo, the People's Square, where crowds swirl around a 2,000-year-old Egyptian obelisk before the gazes of stone lions, demons, and dogs. It's a warm Rome morning in November 2018, and Russian philosopher and political activist Alexander Dugin is headed to one of the city's most exclusive addresses for a meeting he has sworn never to speak of. He steps out onto the street just shy of the piazza and walks in among the white arches of the opulent Hôtel de Russie. Glancing through the lobby and its rear windows, he sees the terraced gardens framing the courtyard and the outdoor Stravinsky bar behind it, lush even in fall with palm trees, poplars, sculpted vines, and shrubs. Dugin doesn't linger. He passes through the lobby and turns up the stairs, where he is greeted by a handler who walks him onward down a hall, through another set of doors, and into a suite and the outstretched arms of Stephen K. Bannon. They exchange smiles and pleasantries while Bannon looks Dugin over, studying the Russian's marble blue eyes and his signature long grizzled beard, an emblem of another place and another time. "Incredible," Bannon says. "Can you imagine what Washington would think?" Good question. Dugin was banned from traveling to the United States and Canada in 2015 after allegedly calling for a genocide in Ukraine. His international reputation, justified or not, as the mad mastermind of Vladimir Putin's geopolitical agenda makes him particularly poisonous for someone like Bannon. Back in the States, Donald Trump's successful presidential campaign has been under criminal investigation for over a year and a half amid allegations it coordinated and colluded with the Russian government during the 2016 election. Bannon managed that campaign, and although those who worked under and around him are falling to the investigation as it churns on, 3 high-profile figures have pled guilty in the past weeks alone, he himself remained untouched. Now he is standing face-to-face with Russia's most notorious ideologue, an inspiration not only to Putin's geopolitics, but to the Russian leader's radicalism as well. They are in one of the hotel's private rooms and will remain there all day, hidden from the white-clad clerks, concierges, and bellhops below, from the bustle of the piazza outside, from the metastasizing hunt for Russian influence in the U.S. government that rages across the Atlantic. Risks abound, but this couldn't wait any longer. Both men want to influence each other, and for Bannon, this entails bringing Dugin to his side and Russia to America's. How? By leveraging a bond between him and his guest that few know about, and even fewer would understand. About 8 hours later, they emerge from the room, shaking hands and promising to meet again.